Newsflash, buddy.
That's right.
That's right, because what's happening right now is we're about to lay it down. There's some stuff going on in comics, some of it that seems pretty cool, some of it that's, honestly, it's got me a little pissed off.
Right, right. I agree.
So we can't control it, so what are we going to do? Like most people who can't control it, we're going to bitch about it right here on Goldie Comics, right? It's what we do.
That's right.
So, starting off with my man, this dude's about to get added to the Andy Muschietti. You know what, dude? Right. Andy Muschietti was not in the news this week.
It's surprising,
right?
So
he will no shots from me this week to Andy Muschietti. So we're at like a little truce maybe. So yep, waving the white flag for a little bit.
Another fool steps up to the plate.
Yep, we got another one. We got my man Bob Iger. Is that how you say his name? Iger. I'm gonna go with Iger.
Yep.
Disney CEO Bob Iger. On Marvel and Star Wars, he is pulling back. Okay, and his reason for this is he says that there's too much content out here. Right? We got all these shows. There's too much content, so people can't focus. So because there's so much content, even though the shows are doing pretty well, right? Yep. Regardless of how you feel about a couple episodes, but he's saying that because there's so much out there, that's why the recent movies have underperformed.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, Bob, is because you guys made The Secret Invasion and WandaVision was a great show,
right.
Loki, because you made all these really good shows, because that happened, you had to make shitty movies to go along with them?
Right.
Like, what does one have to do with the other?
Absolutely nothing. I think Disney, in my mind, Disney has always not been the right fit for comic book characters. They saw something, they saw a product that they thought they could, integrate. Most certainly did not digest it, because comic books are primarily the characters, the storyline. They're pretty R-rated for the most part.
Yeah.
And Disney's family values kind of genre doesn't really play well with them. So I've always thought that they were a bad fit. I think Marvel should have stayed, its own franchise, or at least bought out by a different company so they can remain small, nimble, being able to, move with, what's going on. And Disney's just stagnated this stuff. But they're not talking about the Disney stuff that has also done things similarly.
Right. Yeah. They underperformed, right? All these movies.
Exactly.
And I don't know about you, I didn't see a whole, laundry list of new Disney shows on there.
Exactly.
So what's that issue? The Marvel stuff mess up the Disney shows, maybe?
I don't know. I think what they're responding to politics. They're responding to what's going on with the actors. They're responding to the writers thing. There's a lot going on. And again, Disney is a god company, and unfortunately, they're able to veto something that in their mind is not doing what they think it should be doing. Right. While their main product, the actual Disney products, that's what the focus should be. They should, again, like what was that oil company, Mobil or Texaco or whatever in the back, like AT&T, break that bad boy up, move Marvel back over to an independent something, and then go on the strength of that, because the actors and the directors and the writers, they will come, but I think Disney is just in the way of itself when it comes to the comic side.
Yeah, it's kind of it's the problem with a lot of industries, right? At the end of the day, it's a business,
right?
It's like we as fans, we're here for the fandom. We just want to watch the stuff, want to buy the hats, do all this cool stuff, enjoy it. But there's a company behind all of these brands that needs to make money, and unfortunately, the stuff that happens. I mean, this came about. It's a budget thing. They cut whatever is $5.5 billion in cost cutting last year, and they're looking at the movies and shows, and they are expensive to put on.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is the companies are they're greedy, and this will kind of, I won't spoil one of our next segments, but it will lead right into it. It's like you got companies wanting to make more money,
right?
And they're looking at the streaming. We need to make more money off streaming, so then they're cutting other people like writers and actors out to pay the big businesses.
Right.
So. Typical corporate stuff, right? But it's just it affects us because we want to see the shit. Do we want the shows? I'm good. Keep giving me shows.
Right, and we're the one that's suffering. We're suffering, and the essence of the characters are suffering in the movies. Obviously the writers are suffering in this, and it's interesting that they're cutting more out of their budget than what they actually paid for Marvel back in 2009.
Yeah,
they paid they paid $4 billion for Marvel back in 2009, and they're cutting at least that amount, out of their budget. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
next, Deadpool 3. So this is kind of, remember I said we had good and we had bad?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have dessert first. Okay, we're gonna have the good first. Well, partly why I'm wearing this hat today, Adrian, is we saw some photos this past week, some set photos that, in my opinion, are a thing of beauty.
Yep.
This is something that Wolverine. I mean, you're a big Wolverine fan.
Yep.
I'm a big Wolverine fan. I'm a big X-Men fan. I'm a big classic blue and yellow, Jim Lee, early 90s X-Men 97 fan. And one of the rumors and one of the things that we've been asking for ever since Hugh Jackman originally picked up the claws, right?
Right.
We wanted to see the iconic blue and yellow suit.
Right.
And we got to see a pretty fucking cool version of that from these set photos. Not perfect. There's a couple things. It looks, I'll tell you, in my opinion, it looks a little tactical, right?
Yep.
And that has always been my complaint about the X-Men suits is they want to make them too practical.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, it's a comic book movie.
Yep.
It's okay if you got yellow tights on.
Yep.
It's comic book stuff, right?
That's right.
I mean, we got people flying around and shooting lasers out their eye, and we're worried that their clothes look properly. They look like real.
Right. The only thing I would say about that is I agree it does look a little too tactical.
Yeah.
And it's yellow, dude. I mean, this is like a yellow.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was glad to see the original uniform, but I was kind of shocked to see the yellowness of the yellow. So that kind of took me off. But also I noticed that it's all like long sleeve.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like cloaking the Hugh Jackman physique that we've grown accustomed to, maybe because he's like 70 years old now, and, probably not as in good of a shape as he used to be, but so maybe it's tactical in his design and his look, meaning tactically covering up his not so good physique anymore.
Yes, I would agree because Hugh Jackman's like in his I think he's close to 60.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my other critique. Tactical suit, sure, I can get past that. I like the bright yellow. I'm with you. I'm surprised they went that bold.
Right.
Because I did think, and I wanted them to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, if we're going to see this, if this is the last time Hugh Jackman's going to play Wolverine, we're going to get him on screen with Deadpool, who's over the top anyways.
Right.
Let's go balls to the wall, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I love seeing that yellow, but I think it's the arms, dude. I mean, he's in great shape especially someone who's almost 60.
Right.
But like Thor, Chris Hemsworth pulled this look off, right? Because if you remember the first Thor, I think he had sleeves.
Right.
And then he got a little bigger, and then he started playing Thor without the sleeves, and the look, it was like iconic looking, right? But Chris Hemsworth's arms are they're the size of Hugh Jackman's legs.
Right.
So I believe it's what you're saying. I bet they put the suit on. They're like, oh, we got skinny arm Wolverine over there. And listen, I'm not knocking dude. He's in phenomenal shape. He's better shape than me, and I'm 15 years younger than him.
It'll be interesting to see what the mask looks like if they incorporate the mask.
Yes.
So I'm assuming these are like early photos.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see what the mask looks like if they do don it.
Yep. That's probably my last. Not an issue because you're right. We're only seeing a few photos, but I want to get a look at this mask. And actually, I hope they put the mask on. Right. I hope this is not like something where we're going to give you a little bit to like this is the last time we got to go all in. There's nothing left on the table. So I really like seeing that. I like seeing the set photos. There was a part of it. I don't know if you caught this where the 20th Century Fox logo.
No, I didn't see that.
Was crumbled up in the back, and they're fighting in front of it. So I feel like whatever scene they're shooting here is going to be real meta. So who knows? It might even be like a joke before the main movie even gets started. Before the opening credits.
Right.
So, anyways, excited about that.
Yep. Well, I'm glad to see. Who is it? Morena Baccarin.
Yep.
I like her as an actress for playing that role. I'm glad she's coming back, and I'm surprised to see Jennifer Gardner as Elektra.
Yeah.
Coming on board in this one.
Yep.
So that's surprising.
Which
is actually pretty cool because I've only seen a couple of Elektras on TV and in film.
Yeah.
And I think she kind of does it for me.
Yeah.
As that character.
Yep.
Not too many people can pull that off. So I'm glad to see her name on the roster.
Yeah, I thought she was decent. I remember, it was back in the old Ben Affleck Daredevil, who was also, did you see that? I think we mentioned that last week. He's rumored to be in this movie as well, along with like everyone who's ever been in an X-Men movie, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen. But now we have the dessert first, Adrian.
Yep.
We had the good news first, and now the bad news is Disney shuts down production on the MCU's biggest upcoming movie, which happens to be Deadpool 3.
Right.
So
but didn't they move it up first. First, it was
They
supposed
did
to be,
move it up first.
It was going to be November of 24. Then they
Yep.
moved it up to May.
Yes.
Now it's going to get delayed again. What? Probably back to November or later.
Probably, yeah. Hopefully November. Hopefully not later. But it's due to this strike. You know, we talked about it briefly earlier. But you know, there's a couple organizations, the SAG, the RAG, and they're on strike. Basically, writers said we're not working anymore,
Right.
Because they're negotiating. There's another. It's like two unions pretty much, right? You got the Writers Guild of America represents all the writers. Then there's this AFTRA. They represent the companies, and the companies. For streaming, there's no industry averages that they've agreed upon, right? So if you're writing on a show, there's an average. So if me and you are writers, and I work for Marvel, you work for DC. DC can't lowball you because they don't like you, because you're newer. Like if I'm getting paid $1 million a year to write, and they can't lowball you and go, hey, dude, we'll pay you $10,000 a year. Right. You know, there's industry there's standards, there's averages, right? That's where
as it should be.
As it should be. Problem is, the way the recent agreement is written is it applies to shows on TV, but not streaming. And now these companies are being hurt with the cable ad revenue right now because, you know, streaming's killing cable, right?
Right.
So they're being pressured by investors, Wall Street.
Yep.
They want to get returns because of all this money they invested in streaming. So the TRA, their stance is, well, we'll just take it from the streaming and not pay the artists and not pay the writers of whatever, a fair amount, and that's where we'll recoup it, right? And the writers are like, yo, fuck that, we ain't working then, right? So I mean, this is my version of what's going on, my Reader's Digest version. So May 2nd, the Writers Guild of America, their labor goes, hey, we're going on strike. We're not going to work anymore. And you know, that pushed back a handful of films, but thankfully there were films that were about to start filming, and they could get them started without the writers, right? Because I didn't know. I actually learned a lot of this recently. They have writers on set while they're filming. They have to have a certain amount of writers on set, because if there's any changes that come up, they need the writer involved so they get the proper credit. And I guess that's another thing that these unions, these organizations do, is they ensure that everyone who works on the movie gets proper credit, right?
That was new to me too. I didn't know that, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes like some cool ad-libbing that goes on, and they want to make those changes. But I wasn't aware that they were right, because I thought that the script was done.
Yeah.
But by the time they started filming, and then they just went ahead with whatever. Yeah, they did some ad-libbing, but they just kind of like penciled it in and kept it pushing. But that's not the case. Well, that's cool.
And especially not the case with Marvel. I mean, I think, to your point, most big budget Hollywood films probably work more like the way you're saying. But Marvel, they ad-lib and change so much stuff. Like, I remember reading that Iron Man 1, they barely had a script when they started filming. A lot of it was just improv. You know, hey, here's the scene, what it's going to be. Work a few, me and you go back and forth a few different times, and then the director takes the ones he likes.
And look at the success of Iron Man 1 with the ad-libbing, because they had people on set pay the people.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm at. My stance is the same thing. Dude, pay the writers.
Right.
Because if you're paying them X on a show, and then streaming's where it's at, you shouldn't pay them lower on streaming. Well, you know, we negotiated to get more ad revenue from cable, and well, that's on you. You're the company. You fucked that up.
Right.
It's not the writer's fault. And then now, I don't know if the actors, I don't know if you read this, they're now on strike. And I don't know if that's just to support the writers, or if they have their own issue going on with, you know, their union as well. I don't know.
So we got 3 separate groups on strike: the writers, the companies, and now the actors.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. And that just started on Friday the 14th was when the writers went on strike. And that brings us to Deadpool 3 production coming to a halt. I'm sorry, the actors. Dude, there were people walking out of like movie premieres and stuff.
Right.
It was like once like the news went out, they were on strike. There were a couple, I forget who they were, but a couple actors. Actually, I think it was my man Tom Cruise again. Tom Cruise back at it, but this time he's working his way back on my side, because now he's moving he's out of the doghouse because he went on strike. He walked out of a movie premiere because of the writer's strike on Friday, or when the actor strike. So
what does walking out of a movie premiere actually do? What does that say?
You know,
besides that, for me, if I walk out of a movie, the movie is so bad I can't even stomach watching the rest of it. So when a Tom Cruise walks out of a movie premiere, what does that mean to anybody?
Well, dude, I mean, we already know Tom Cruise is up here. I mean, he's the one who said The Flash was the greatest movie ever. So someone at his level walks out, dude. Right. There's no premiere no more.
Oh, there we go. Shut it down. Everybody else leave.
Shut it down. But so Deadpool 3 has been shut down. The only movie that's still filming, I guess, for Marvel right now is Captain America. But if we're following this trend, I would assume they're going to be shut down soon, too, as well. So bad news there. Oh, we do have some DC news. Superman Legacy. They have casted some unexpected superheroes, the article says, Adrian. Nathan Fillion, who was he was in Guardians 3. He played one of those guys in those weird
the
flesh suits.
Bubble suits or whatever. Yep.
And Nathan's been, voice of, he's a big voice actor for video games, a lot of other movies. He's actually voiced the Green Lantern in some animated films.
Right.
Okay, so they announced that the Green Lantern will be played by Nathan Fillion in Superman Legacy.
So this is what I'm not getting. Nathan Fillion, I mean, he's what, the Castle, the Rookie show, TV shows?
Yes, yep.
And I didn't know that he was a voice to some of the Green Lantern characters. However, where are all the young actors? Are there no young actors?
No.
There shouldn't be an actor strike when they can just go and coax all these skeletons from the grave to play these characters. Where are the up and coming? It's like they're not it's like with comics, right? They keep highlighting Superman, Batman. I don't know why the Flash is in there, at least this rendition. There's certain characters that they always push,
right?
And there's so many other characters that they could be bringing out. It's like they're doing that with these old actors. They want to bring up all these, seasoned per se people, but bring out the young actors that can actually play these superhero characters.
Right.
Superhero characters they're not an old guy's. That's like me getting in there with my beard playing, Green Hulk or something. I don't know. It's where are the fresh and up and coming actors, actresses in this, movie industry?
Yeah. You know who you should play, Adrian, with your beard? You remember at the end of the last Black Panther movie, Black Panther's son?
Yep.
You should play him.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's about the equivalent of what we see, right?
Yep.
But but what I've heard about this movie so far is that Superman is going to be younger than the other heroes around him, right? So these heroes are going to be established already. But here's my thing. You know what I thought when I heard Nathan Fillion is going to be casted as Green Lantern? My thought was nothing about the casting. I just thought, why the hell is Green Lantern going to be in the new Superman Legacy movie that's supposed to start the whole new story when the mistake that DC made the first time was they tried to rush the whole Justice League?
Right.
Why are we doing this again?
And why are they putting in older? Well, actually, the Green Lantern that he's going to portray is going to be Guy Gardner, not Hal Jordan, which at least that's a relief.
Yeah.
They can make anybody Guy Gardner. He's like a clown. Green Lantern. He replaced Hal Jordan in the comics at some point. So at least he's not playing the Hal Jordan character.
Yeah.
But I mean, why are they putting like this older version, it appears, of a Green Lantern in with a very young version of Superman who don't look like Henry Cavill at all? I mean, this kid literally looked like he was like spliced from Henry Cavill.
He's like a clone.
Forget what we already know and love. Yep. Let's just go with somebody that looks like him, probably because he's less expensive. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So I think this is a mistake. I think that the Superman Legacy movie, I'm not that excited for it, to be honest. I was excited for the Batman Brave and the Bold until we heard about my boy Andy Muschietti directing it. Although, someone in the comments actually pointed out a good point. Now, the Batman segments of the Flash movie were some of the better parts. So, his argument was, well, maybe he could handle Batman. So I guess we'll see. But this, I'm like, why are we rushing this? Like, why? I even read that the Authority, another group who is gonna, they're gonna may appear in this movie. Hawk Girl, was that another one?
Yeah.
Like, they're announcing all these other heroes, and all these other characters. It's like, do we not now? I don't want to see a Superman origin again, but I wouldn't mind seeing like first couple years Superman before we get to all that.
Right. If you want to create a mash of superheroes, start out with like a Justice League, one, and go through the process. That way you could introduce these characters on a platform that makes sense.
Right.
Don't make a Superman movie because Superman doesn't need other supporting cast. He doesn't need Hawk Girl. He doesn't need Green Lantern. He doesn't. I mean, this is just like the Flash, the last Flash. They had so many other people in it that it almost like it's confused. Well, whose movie is it really?
Yep.
You know, so it sounds like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, yep, I agree. So, well, that is it for Newsflash Buddy. It's fun as always. And my man Andy Muschietti made it out this week with no shots fired from myself. So good job there. Again, Disney CEO Bob Iger kind of took his spot this week, and maybe he'll be a punching bag for next few weeks. No, you know who's going to be a punching bag is the damn organization that's not paying the writers. Like you said, dude, pay the writers.
Right.
Pay the actors.
Right.
Because without – I get it. We need all y'all. Work stuff out, but pay them, please.
You know, in Miami, there's a radio station, 99.1. It's an urban radio station, hip hop. And they have this segment called the Donkey of the Week.
Yes. Yep. I know what you're talking about.
And that's always been funny to me. We need to come up with something like that for these guys, like Muschietti, Igor, whatever his name is. Something like Donkey of the Week. We'll figure it out.
Yep. And Andy Muschietti's the first one. So whatever we figure it out, whatever the only comic version of Donkey of the Week is, Andy Muschietti, you are the reigning champ right now.
There you go.
So